Hey all, Heretic here. Patch 33.0.3 drops today. Maybe 1 p.m. Eastern, maybe later. Mobile players, you know how it is. It happens when it happens for you. I'd like to say it's going to be soon, but we all know it might take a couple hours, especially if you're on Apple. Folks, remember, we primarily focus almost universally on the Battlegrounds here, so if you're here for Hearthstone information, I'm warning you up front, you're not going to be happy. We're covering Battlegrounds. I'd love to make all the stuff, but I don't play the mode, so I can't really help you, and I want to be upfront about it. Let's jump into all the Battleground stuff right now. Let us start with a dev comment about this season. It's well met. Patch 33.03 marks our final major balance patch update this season. While we've made targeted adjustments to individual trinkets and anomalies, the core focus this patch is on minion tuning. We've addressed standout cards like Sholfin Mystic and Captain Sanders, aiming to bring them into healthier positions within the meta. At the same time, we've given a boost to underperformers such as Fauna Whisperer and Champion of Sargeras to make them more rewarding to play. We hope you've enjoyed this season and look forward to sharing what's coming next very soon. Now, quick update on that. I do not get this information early officially anymore. Currently, I'm hoping that changes. I've been trying to reach out to someone at Blizzard so we can get myself some correct patch notes and everything. All right, let's talk about the anomaly updates now. And the start is greater pouches. Now, this used to be on turn 6 and 9, buy a greater trinket. There are no lesser trinkets in the game. Now is on turn 8 and 9, buy a greater trinket. There are no lesser trinkets in the game. And I kind of like that. I feel like 6 and 9, the 9 part's fine, but the 6 part could be tough because that's right when you're in the midst of tiering and trying to get to the good minions. And it's just rough to spend as much as you could spend on a greater trinket, and you really don't have much direction that early, typically, unless you're playing a hero that leans into a tribe. So I really like this later arrival time. I feel like it gives me more time to get a clue about what I want to do. Now, that doesn't mean the trinkets are going to work with me and give me trinkets that match the tribe I'm building for, but at least it feels more likely if I have time to find the correct number of minions to activate that ability to have the potential of getting that trinket at least. So this is a good fix, I think. I like this a lot. And the appearance rate of greater pouches has been reduced. Well, currently, right now in the game, it's not. So this is it's going to be an increase no matter what, because this one's just not in right now as far as I know. I haven't seen this one in a long time, so I'm assuming that they removed it. I don't remember exactly, but all right, now it's time for a single trinket update, and bear with me, this one is going to escalate quickly as I read it to you. Marvelous Mushroom was removed recently, but it's back. Used to be your tavern spells that give stats, grant an extra +1 health at the start of each turn, increase this by 1. Kind of lackluster, not really interesting, right? New, your tavern spells that give stats, grant an extra +1 and +1 at the start of each turn, improve this. Huh? What? No. It was lackluster, that's why you removed it. That doesn't mean bring it back as cuckoo banana nuts. What the hell have you been smoking? No, you went too far. There's a correction and there's an overcorrection. And I hate to tell you, this one looks like a massive overcorrection. That just feels like too much to me. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm reading into this, but spells have so much defined this season, which was intentional, that this just feels like you haven't learned anything from this season by making it this much, unless, and I'm going to be hopeful here, they're like, well, we've done a lot of crazy things. It's the end of the season. Let's crank it all the way up for this one and see what happens for next time. We're the guinea pigs for next time this comes back, because we already know it's going to come back eventually. Next, we have some minion updates, and there are some massively impactful ones to the meta, to where by the end of the day, the game is going to feel very different just because the minion changes are just so many hard-hitting minions getting changed. Some of them, we don't really care about, but for the most part, some of these are really meta-defining. And my only complaint is it took far too long for this to come back. But Sinrunner Blanchy, old, tier 5, reborn. This is reborn with full health and enchantments. This is how it's been the entire time. It's always been a problem. And every time it comes back, I'm like, why are you even back? You're a problem. And lo and behold, it's a problem. Well, now new, tier 4, reborn. This is reborn with full health and enchantments in combat. Now, you might be sitting there going, well, that doesn't really seem that disgusting, Heretic. What's the problem? Well, the thing is, you could print it in the shop phase. You could destroy it, make extra copies of it, give it reborn again, and just keep printing these, and they would keep the full stats. But now, it's reborn with its full health and enchantments in combat. That means in the shop phase, it's not. So this is definitely going to be less useful. We're not going to, I mean, it still works, right? It still keeps those combat buffs. You still could use it in an overflow undead build and build a big monster. You can't print extra ones and just make it so they're having all these stats over and over again. Kel'Thuzad is not gonna, at the end of the turn, print a copy of your 1200 Divine Shield Sinrunner Blanchie. It's just gonna make you a little tiny 4/4. Enjoy. It's not quite the same. So this is a massive fix that was needed years ago, to say the least. Shulfin Mystic got a nerf, but wait for it. You're thinking, yes, finally, Shulfin Mystic has been reined in, and to an extent, you're right. But potentially, no, worse. Used to be 5/5 Battlecry, your tavern spells that give stats, grant an extra +1/+1 this game. Incredibly good, use it with a brand, go nuts. You sit Young Murkai next to it, trigger it, use a Rylak, whatever. This thing made tavern stats insane. I've done it a million times, it's awesome. New 4/4. When you sell this, your tavern spells that give stats grant an extra +2/+1 this game. So, you can't use it with brand. There's no way to trick it out with any other minions. You have to sell it. This is the way they fixed a lot of difficult minions. And I think overall, this is going to be a much better experience for everybody. At the same time, I still think there's going to be high rolls where you are going to make your spells potentially bigger than they were before, because sometimes you play APM Murlocs and you can't spend your gold. You're making enough Murlocs, you're printing enough copies where it's busted. And at tier 4, that does mean there's more in the pool. So theoretically, you could make just as many, if not more by far, than when they're on tier 5. Will that function out to where they're going to be broken? Probably not. It's probably going to be a nerf across the board. But you'll feel those games when someone finds more, because you're never going to see them now. You're not going to know they were there. They're this hidden killer. It's not going to be a golden Young Murkai with two golden Shulfins around them just triggering constantly. Now it's going to be just random giant Murlocs. You're never going to know the Shulfin was there, but wow, are you going to feel it. Fauna Whisperer got a buff finally. This thing has been just so lackluster. There's times where you'll use it. It's a good end your turn with this on the board card, but it's never something that you're happy about when this is the best tier 6 offered to you and you triple into it. So used to be a 3/8 at the end of your turn, cast Natural Blessing on the minion to the left of this. Now is a 4/9, stats aren't a big deal. At the end of your turn, cast Natural Blessing on adjacent minions. So now you're gonna get 2 casts of it. Is that better? Of course, it's twice as good. It's an end of turn effect. You can use it with Drakari, but you're probably not, because Drakari's not gonna get these buffs. So it's one of those where this does make it better, 100%. It depends how much you buffed your spells, if this is something you want to ever have on your board for more than the way we've already been playing this card, where it's just like you finish your turn, play it. But at the same time, if you hit this early and you do run a single tribe, this will give you a much, much greater bit of tempo. So this is definitely a buff no matter what to Fauna Whisperer. Eternal Night just got a buff. Again, kind of. Well, wait and see. It's a buff, there's no doubt about that, but it's been changed. Used to be a 5/1, has +2/+1 for each friendly Eternal Night that died this game, wherever this is. Now is a 3/1, has +3/+1 for each Eternal Night that died this game, wherever it is. Well, the initial stats don't matter. You'll scale this up pretty fast, right? The question is this even still viable? I think Eternal Nights just don't really work right now. They're too slow. And this increase of another attack, I don't think is going to make a huge difference. I've seen enough massive, we've had a million Eternal Nights die, still get steamrolled by elementals, murlocs, demons. Maybe with the changes we're seeing in today's patch, this will make them competitive. I wouldn't complain, because it would be nice to see more undead just have more viable builds. Moro's Steward of Death got a buff. Good old Moro's always doing his thing. Gonna change. Used to be a 5/3, Reborn, Death Rattle, give your undead +3/+5, is now a 6/4, Reborn, Death Rattle, give your undead 4/6. I mean, okay. I understand the synergistic thing they're going with. He's a 5/3 who gives a 3/5 buff. Now he's a 6/4 who gives a 4/6 buff, but please just stop. Let Moros just have 1 health. His only job is to die. That's all I need him to do, to show up and do the work. And in this case, die so my minions can get the buff. Don't give him more stats. Give him less stats when it comes to health. I don't even care if he's a 1/1. If he gives enough stats with Death Rattle, I don't care. We're undead. We can buff attack. That's not a problem. If you're failing to buff your attack with undead, you're probably not winning the game anyway, so don't worry about it. But Moros got a buff, and it's definitely not going to hurt undead boards. Hollow Rover got a massive buff and a return to form, if I remember, which was problematic at the time, but we'll see. And its stats are the same, but it was whenever this attacks gets a random magnetic. It is now Divine Shield whenever this attacks get a random magnetic. That's important because you're starting with a Divine Shield. You no longer have to put a magnetic on it to give it that. You don't have to worry about it having taunt and then have to get tricky trousers to remove that taunt. Now it just starts. That makes tripling into this a lot easier to get value with. If you already have the ability to give it Wind Fury, then you're all set. You could just pop that on this thing immediately and you're guaranteed to get at least 2 magnetics. Of course, unless it runs into a Leroy, which what are the odds? You just tripled into a Hollow Rover and they tripled into and taunted a Leroy, or you just hit really bad. If that happens, the game bobs against you. It's not your fault. It's okay. Deep breaths. It's always the next game. Shadow Dancer got a nerf, and I'm not sure it's gonna hurt demons as much as they think, but maybe it will. Let's talk about it together. Let's analyze this. Used to be a tier 4 4/2. Same death rattle, all that stuff, giving you the ability to buff the shop. Now is a tier 5 5/2. So obviously there's less in the pool. That's a problem, right? But do you know how many games I've played where I've had like a golden Shadow Dancer and I keep finding Shadow Dancers, so I end up having like 2 Shadow Dancers with another one in my hand. I've got a gold one, I've got 2 in my, I got 1 in play, 1 in my hand, and I'm just sitting there going, I have no way to buff them. Like I don't hit the baddie Terror Guard, I don't hit any spell buffs, so they're just kind of trash, right? They're there, they're buffing the shot, but not in a meaningful way. So moving it to tier 5 does make it where I'll find less of them, but it's also making it so the minions that I'm looking for at 5, which are the minions I need for this build, are harder to find because there's yet another tier 5 demon I want in there. I don't know, we'll see how this feels. It's definitely a nerf, but I feel like Shadow Dancer is a problem. It's the other things that make it more problematic, but with the changes to the other spell buffs, maybe it all makes sense. We'll have to let the gameplay hold it out, but it'll be an interesting experiment. It's definitely a nerf though to demons. Tardy Traveler got a buff, and it's a very minor one, but it goes from tier 5 to tier 4. I think this is an error in the patch notes because it says it's going from tier 4 to tier 5, but it's currently tier 5 in the game right now. So unless this is like a really light patch note for something they did in a hotfix, I don't remember. I think they just got it wrong here because now it is supposed to be a tier 4, I believe, judging by the graphics I have on the new one versus the original stuff. But sometimes these things are wrong and I'm left sitting here confused too. And Captain Sanders, talk about the nerf I didn't see coming. I mean, I understand why Captain Sanders is a problem, but at the same time, his use case seems so rare. Like you're just not seeing that much of him because the way tier 7 works, but I'm guessing the data's holding up and it's a problem. But here we go. Sanders was a 7/7 battlecry, make a friendly minion. Golden is now going to be a 10/10. Ooh, more stats. Make a friendly pirate gold. So he's another dead tier 7 card if you're not playing pirates. I don't like making tier 7 dead. I mean, it's fine if you want to make it to where they all don't interact with each other, but I thought this card wasn't that problematic. I felt like the issue with this card was the fact that it was a battle cry and you could use Young Murk-Eye and golden your entire board or bounce it back and forth to your hand. Why not make it so when you sell it, it could make one of the minions on your board gold or something like that. That way there was no way to cheat out extra versions of it and whatnot. I think it just makes it kind of a dead card, and I don't like nerfing it into oblivion because of a couple interactions. I feel like it's not that bad a card. Personally, obviously, I'm guessing the data doesn't equal out, and it turns out it's a disaster for the game. Bellowing Tyrant got a buff, and boy, does it need it. The question is it enough? Used to be a 3/2. Taunt has +3/+2 for each beast you've summoned this game, wherever this is. to now being a 4/3. Taunt has +4/+3 for each beast you've summoned this game, wherever this is. So we've given it +1/+1 starting stats. Who cares? But we're also giving it that +1/+1 to each buff it receives for every beast you summoned, which can be significant. It's better. It's certainly a buff. I just don't think I still care, but it's definitely a buff. Boommobile getting a buff, and do you care? It goes from being a 20/20, yeah, Reborn, Divine Shield, Taunt, Wind Fury, all that good stuff, Magnetic, to now being a 30/30. And I'm still not sure that's enough to make me care about it, because you just can't print enough of them typically. I'd rather get a Dr. Booms from tier 6 than get a Boommobile, even if it's a 30/30. Yeah, initially, if you get it really early and you know you're going to print more tier 7s, then it's fine. But when you start getting 1, 2, 3 of these, like when you take Pagel and you keep getting Boommobiles, it feels good for one turn. And then after that, it's like, and I don't think the 10/10 stats is going to make any difference on that. Champion of Sargeras just went from, okay, it was broken initially, to now being potentially one of the more impactful demon cards in the game, which makes sense for tier 7, has some big changes. So it was a 10/10. Minions in the tavern have +10/+10. So you had to keep it on your board, and it gave a 10/10 buff. That's it. Is now a 12/12. Battle Cry and Death Rattle. Minions in the tavern have +5/+5 this game. So you're in a tier 7 lobby, you have a Moira, you find this, you play it. It's going to immediately buff the shop 10/10. It dies. Another 10/10. Yeah, you can make this silly, because now Hawkstrider, Macaw, all the different ways you could trigger Death Rattles and Battle Cries are gonna make this thing stupid. And it's at tier 7, so it shouldn't be too bad. It should be incredibly powerful. It's a tier 7. But I want you to compare this to Dr. Booms after the buff and tell me which one you'd rather have most of the time. Now we have some quick spell updates. Channel the Devourer has been returned to the spell pool. Oh, thank you, Channel. Oh, I love Channel. I have missed Channel the Devourer so much. It's so nice to have it back. You know, you could just keep that emotional support. Channel the Devourer in your hand for when you need to get rid of that big ass minion you know you don't want to keep on your board, and you can do more than just sell it now. You can spit it. You're gonna forget, you're gonna put a cycle card on the board, and you're gonna spit on that card and hate yourself for it while you dig for another Channel the Devourer. But after you make that mistake one more time, because it's been a long time since you saw this spell, you'll remember, and it'll never happen again. Right? Right? Blade of Ambition got a nerf, and it's a good nerf, and you might be wondering what that nerf is, because you never did this before, but you'll figure it out in a second. Old costs 6. Choose a minion, set its attack and health to match the highest in your warband. That's pretty good, right? New costs 7. Choose a friendly minion, set its attack and health to match the highest in your warband. And right about now, you're scratching your head going, friendly minion? Wait, does that mean I could have targeted the shop? Yeah, you could have targeted the shop. You could have cast this on a magnetic and put it on one of your other minions. And yeah, when you did it, it was disgusting. Because hey, I have a 600/600. Oh look, that 2/2 in the shop. Now it's a 600/600. I'm gonna attach it to my 600/600. Now I got a 1200/1200. Let me get the next Blade of Ambition out, and let's keep repeating that. That was the problem with this thing. Good change. If you missed it, I'm sorry. That's why that change happened. Duos players, we have some updates, and I don't have much to say about these because I don't know much about duos. If you want me to play duos, folks, come to chat, sit in here, do a redemption on your points on Twitch, and make me play duos. Yes, make me learn that I don't like duos. Please teach me the ways, your wonderful ways of playing this horrible mode. I know, I don't like it. That's fine, I'm teasing. But if you want to spend the channel points to make me suffer, my chat loves to do it. We have Guiding Candle is now banned in duos. Don't know if that's good or not, but it's banned. Probably good. Duos does some crazy stuff, so it makes sense. Selfless Sightseer used to be tier 4/5/2, is now tier 5/6/2. Once again, duos, I just don't know. Next, we have some Battlegrounds bug fixes. First, we have Fixed a bug where dragons adjacent to persistent poets sometimes do not keep their enchantments from combat. Now, I never actually witnessed this happen to my minions, but I have watched the stream of a couple different people, seen it happen, and watched the pure, unadulterated rage that flowed from them. It was like watching a Sith Lord become ascendant and just murder everything around him. I swear they levitated off their chair, shot lightning from their eyes, and screamed rage. It was quite wonderful to watch. Usually I'm the one losing my mind. It's nice to see someone else losing their mind at the game. But this is a very good fix because it was very frustrating to see someone play a game where like 3 turns in a row, their persistent poet just seemed to be taking the day off. Fixed a bug where Moreau's Steward of Death's Death Rattle gave other minions the wrong attack number. Good fix, no argument there. Fixed a bug where Golden Sin Runner Blanchie was not reborn with full health and enchantments in combat. I actually did experience this one, and it sucked. There's nothing quite as much fun as having a giant Sin Runner Blanchie turn into a small-ass Sin Runner Blanchie, and you're sitting there going, I know what I did wrong this game. I know how to fix my gameplay. People come in, they're like, Heretic, what am I doing wrong in the game? And I'm like, well, when something like that happens, your mistake was queuing up the next round. Just walk away sometimes. It's all you can do. That's it, folks. That's all I've got for you. Thanks for watching all. Please, if you like this, if you learned things, if you had fun, if you just got a good laugh out of all this, please like, subscribe, and comment. I really want to know what you think about this patch. Does it sound good to you? Personally, I think this patch is hitting a lot of the problematic minions. My only complaint was most of these minions were problematic the moment they were announced at the beginning of the season, and we're not getting them fixed until the last patch. And that blows my mind. Like, if we knew they were a problem before the launch, and then they say, well, no, you don't know that until they come out. Then we play a bunch of games and they're a problem. And they're like, no, they're not a problem. And then they fix them in the last patch saying, we're gonna fix the minions. And I'm like, that means they were a problem the whole time, dude. What the hell? And I'm assuming it's a manpower issue. They just don't have enough people. They can only do so much. So it's triage. You get done what you can when you can. And we have nothing but time to look at it. So we just scream and yell at the moon and they just have to deal with it. But hey, you work at the big company, you get to put your name on it, you get to be excited and proud. That means you got to deal with us who have all day long to do nothing but armchair quarterback this shit and go, we love the game. We want to play it, make it better. We're just passionate. We all love this game. When we yell at you, it's because this is our exciting thing. This is what we love to talk about and think about. This is what keeps me up at night. This is the thing that gives me anxiety because I'm like, what can I do? What can I do? Like, how can I get better? How can I have more fun? How can they fix things? Like, this is my thing. I'm passionate about the game and I love the game. Let me have access so I can help other people get the information they need as quickly as possible. Thanks for watching all. I hope you had a good time. Please like all that good stuff because it does help the channel grow and it means a lot to me. I'll catch you all in the Battlegrounds. Until next time, later.